It is the mark of a wise man to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. So, Aristotle was this guy that lived in ancient Athens and was a student of Plato. While his teacher had his head in the clouds with ideal forms and governments, Aristotle was much more pragmatic in his philosophy. While Plato was all like, yay, perfect trees, perfect dogs, perfect people, in his world of forms, Aristotle was all like, well, what about real trees, real dogs, and real people? You know, that we can perceive with our senses in actual reality? This divide between rationalism, thinking our way to truth, and empiricism, finding truth in observable data, continued well into the Enlightenment in the 18th century. After Plato died, Aristotle left the academy to find employment elsewhere. He found work in Macedon, where King Philip wanted his son educated by the wisest teacher of that time. Aristotle gladly accepted the role and became Alexander's private tutor. Aristotle's empirical mindset could have contributed to Alexander's battle tactics when he was older, but we will talk about Alexander in another video. His relationship with Alexander was beneficial, for after Alexander went and conquered, the entire known world, Aristotle submitted a request to assist his studies of nature. Alexander, glad to help his old teacher, ordered a royal decree for plant and animal samples from across the empire to be sent back to Greece so that Aristotle could analyze and taxonomize them. Thus, in just a favor between a conqueror and a scientist, biology, as we understand it, was formally invented. Aristotle also invented formal logic, with this following syllogism. Socrates is a man, all men are mortal, therefore Socrates is mortal. It seems simple enough to understand, and straightforward, which is how he thought logic should be, not idealizing the perfect dog from which all dogs are imperfect copies from, but categorizing and linearizing thought in a step-by-step procedure. This format of formal logic, if all A's are B's, and all B's are C's, and all A's are C's, was used as the foundation for algebra, and therefore all of mathematics and science owes its creation to Aristotle. But the taller the statue of the man, the larger the shadow he casts, and the darker his bad side is. With such important accomplishments in mathematics and science, Aristotle's hubris took the best of him, and he believed that even his worst opinions were justified by his quote-quote logical thinking, especially his misogyny more than anything else. In numerous treatises and books, he defended his opinion that women lack a rational part of their soul. So yeah, he goes in the bin of historical figures who belong in the trash. Some scholars excuse these opinions as only natural, that without the formal education offered by the state for landowning men, it's only logical that the women deprived of the access to knowledge would appear to be less rational by comparison, and that all Aristotle could see were the consequences of an already pre-existing unbalanced system, which is understandable. Some defenders of Aristotle state that times were different back then. Gender inequality was just the norm if society was supposed to function, and we should be proud of the shame we feel for the ancients, because it shows our cultural maturity and growth past such a backwards mindset. But then again, we're 2,300 years into the future, and all the ancients have to do is point to the leader of the free world to knock us off of our high horse. And maybe, just maybe, those sexist perspectives are inherent in the history of male-dominated Western thought since, from the way we describe women like Mary Magdalene, Helen of Troy, Cleopatra, or modern female celebrities. Maybe. Not much has changed in our cultural mindset in the 2,300 years since Aristotle first wrote down his opinions regarding women and their subsequent objectification, and that no matter how much we like to believe in modern superiority from those controversial thoughts in papyrus, we're no better than them. Or maybe I'm just thinking a bit too much about this. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, leave your comments below, or share this video with friends. See you in the next video.